Good day. Let's go ahead and get started into our practice. We'll have a nice well-rounded flow with that emphasis on the hip flexors, hamstrings, lower body. We'll get started on our yoga mat. Let's come down and begin in tabletop. So we'll come to hands, knees, and just take a moment to register being here. So lift, spread the fingers, feel the mat beneath. Same thing, just the knees stack open, give the body plenty of room. And then let's start moving just the shoulders. So you're going to shrug your shoulders, sinking in and then pushing the floor away. So small movement as we get started. After a little bit of just moving through the shoulders this way, let's expand this out into our spine. And so now we begin to cat-cow pose. Arch and round, everything between head and tailbone. And just allow your breathing to sync up to this movement you're in. Right, let's come back through center. We're just going to pause there. We'll go ahead, we'll tuck our toes under, and then we're just going to push back into the heels and just take a moment there. It's so subtle, but get this stretch going in the feet. And then from there, let's rock forward into the hands and just kind of lean forward into the wrists. And then there, we'll rock. So forward and back a few times just to feel your arrival here on your yoga mat. And then as you push back into the heels, let's walk the hands back. And then from there, we're just going to lift the knees off the ground. So we're in a little squat. And then we're just going to tap the knees back down. So several times, just kind of this rocking, moving squat. Notice where you feel this work land. Could be in the feet, the knees, the hips, maybe even low back. And then as you come up into that squat this next time, can you see about bringing the hands up onto the thighs and just kind of lengthen through your spine? Just take a moment long enough to register your whole body being down low in the squat. Take a nice inhale through the nose and then just nice slow, steady exhale through the nose. Okay, trusting your body already knows how to breathe. And then from there, we'll tap right back down into the knees. From here, just hands at the hip creases, and then we're just going to rise. We're just going to kind of stand into the knees, and then dropping back down into the heels. So I have my toes tucked under. You can do this a few times with the toes tucked for that extra stretch in the feet, but then you could also untuck them, and then sitting deeply into the heels. Flossing open just a little bit through just that hip crease. And then as you rise, as you come up into the knees, let's bring palms together here, down low, just high knees. We're going to twist to the right. So just part the arms, turn the chest, look behind you, feel as though you're really reaching out through the fingers. And then we'll come right back through center, let palms touch. We're going to twist to the other side. Part the arms, really reach, and then right back through center. Okay, back through our tabletop. Let's tuck our toes. This time, hover the knees. Find that hovering tabletop. Still very much a tabletop, long spine. And then from there, let's pivot. A little bit of swivel on the balls of the feet. Feel that twist through the low back. A few times where maybe you do that with lifting one hand off the ground. Okay, starting to use the floor. And then we'll bring this back in, downward facing dog. Send the hips high. Spend a few moments there in that first dog pose. Let it be all yours. Hands are involved here, right? The hands acting a little bit like the feet, supporting your body weight. And then in this dog pose, let's rock forward to plank pose. So now we just lengthen out again, just long enough so you can fully register being here. And then right back to our dog pose. Let's stand in the right leg. Put all of your weight in that right leg. So you can just kind of bend the left knee or let that left foot rest on your right. And then we'll switch. So just all the weight, you're standing in the left leg, heavy through the heel. And then we come back through, even that out in our dog pose. All right, from right here, let's go ahead and walk our hands backwards. We're going to find a forward fold at the back of the mat. Lift, spread your toes, and then just distribute weight evenly through the feet. A few times, we're going to bend the knees, crunch, and then straighten the legs, okay? So a few times, just bending and re-straightening the legs. Giving a moment for the legs to respond to that big request, that big demand. And then as you straighten your legs, let's begin to rise. So come on up through to standing. And then just take a little stroll to what is the front of your practice space. And then finding that mountain pose. So we lift the toes again here, spread them. Place them back down. And then just drawing up tall through the legs and through your spine. Give the shoulders a big roll here. Let them drop down. And then just a little nod of the head, yes, no, just a reminder, our head sits atop of our spine. Tallest version of you. Let's move through a couple of half vinyasas to just get things synced up and flowing. Inhale, reach the arms, look up. Exhale, bow, fold forward to your legs. And then lengthen there. Halfway lift your shoulders. And then exhale, fold back in. On a breath, rise. Reach the arms. Exhale, mountain pose. Bring the hands to heart. We'll do that much again. Inhale, reach the arms, look up. Exhale, fold in half. Lengthen there, halfway lift your body. Exhale to fold. And then a breath will rise. Press the floor away. All the way to stand, mountain pose. Okay, a breath. Sweep the arms, reach up. Exhale, chair pose. Just sit deep into your seat. Bring the hands with you. A couple times more. Big inhale to rise. Exhale, sitting deep into your seat. And then a breath. Reach up. Exhale to chair pose. Right there. Let's interlace the hands and then just send the arms forward and just kind of peek down through the arms. Tailbone reaching back. Arms long. Breathe. And then we fold. Let's step back here into our plank pose, and then from plank, just all the way down into the belly. As you come down, let's find baby cobra pose. So just that little lift of the chest. Feel that the hands help you here. And then exhale, lower. Let's come down. We're going to come up onto our fingertips, right? So just coming up onto the fingerprints. The hands are light. And then here, cobra pose. Just notice the difference, just having the fingertips to help us. Exhale, lower. And then now we do cobra pose, no hands. So where the hands are on your mat, just lift them up a little bit, hover, and then rise. Just all the strength of the back body, the shoulders, cobra pose. Good, let's come down, we're gonna do that again. So just regular hands help us, right? The hands help push the floor away. We rise into cobra. All the way down, come to the fingertips, cobra pose this way, lift up, feel the difference? All the way down, cobra, no hands, they hover. Feel like elbows are reaching to the ceiling, and then rise. Good. We come down, we'll take a locust pose. So we'll reach the arms back. We lift our chest like cobra, but we also now lift the legs. Take this wide, out into that space around you. Long enough to feel whole body here. Let's circle through the wrists, the ankles, and then bring it in. We'll press back, child's pose. Take a moment in child's pose. Let all that initial movement land here for you in your body. And we'll rise. We'll come on back up through, just downward facing dog. Send the hips high. This time, let's glance at the hands. Deep bend in the knees like you're crouching down in dog. And then either walk or hop the feet in. A forward fold. Okay, lengthen here. Halfway lift up. Exhale to fold. On a breath, we'll rise. Sweep the arms, come up. Tadasana, mountain pose. Bring the hands together. Okay, doing this again through that full vinyasa, a sun salutation. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow to your legs. Lengthening halfway lift. Exhale to plank or chaturanga, however you get down. And then a breath to rise, cobra or upward facing dog. And the exhale back, downward facing dog or child's pose, whatever the day calls for. Let's glance forward at the hands again. Little bend in the knees. You either walk or hop it to the front. Lengthen there, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. On a breath, let's rise. Sweep the arms, reach up. Mountain pose. We'll bring the hands together into heart. Okay, a breath. Sweep the arms, reach. Exhale to fold. Lengthening here, halfway lift. Exhale, let's step the left foot back of the mat. Find a low lunge. Let the hands frame your front foot. And then a few times just lift and lower the back knee. Okay, all for that hip crease in the front. Lift, lower the knee. And then from there, let's drop the back knee. We'll leave it there, and then we'll just come up through this low lunge. Okay? Rather than sinking forward here, which is one way to do this, we're just going to work a little more deeply into the front of the hip crease. So bring the hands to your low back, or kind of almost to your tailbone, and then just a little bit kind of draw under, a little bit like you're tucking your tail, and feel as though you're almost going to pull that back knee forward. And so we just get a different sort of stretch through the hip crease down into the thigh. Take a breath there. And then from right there, we'll reach the arms up overhead. Let's catch the left wrist, and then just big side bend to your right. And just kind of notice there, kind of gauge the intensity of drawing the tail under, a little or a lot. Okay, let's rise. We'll release that. Let's bring left hand down into the mat now, and then we take that twist towards the front knee. So I'm raising my right arm, look up. You can tuck the back toes, float the knee. Let's bring the hand back into the mat. Low lunge here a few times. Straighten and re-bend through the front knee to some degree. Okay. And then from there, let's step it forward fold. Feet come together, lengthening halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Let's step the right foot back or your other foot so you're in a low lunge. Bend and re-straighten the back knee. Lift lower. Notice what you notice. We're going to lower into that back knee and then now rise. So come on up. And then again here, we want to stack over that knee. Nice and level. And just a little bit, draw the tailbone under. Feel as though you might try to drag that back knee forward. But soften the jaw muscles of the neck. From right there, let's reach the arms up. Catching your right wrist, take this over a big side bend. Let's release the side bend. We'll come on up. Hands are going to come down into the mat for a twist. We'll raise that left arm, look up. Maybe float the back knee. Belly, rib cage, chest spins open. And then now as you come back into your mat, a few times you get to move through the front leg. Bend and re-straighten. And just kind of finding your physical edge. As you come into this low lunge, let's step forward, fold, the feet come in, lengthening halfway lift, exhale to fold, and then a breath to rise, come all the way to standing, mountain pose, hands to heart. Okay, let's work a little bit into the hamstrings, into the back body. We're going to take our feet just maybe about pelvis distance apart. The hands are out of the way, the hands are at your hips. Hinge at your hip crease, just half forward fold, just long tabletop spine. And then dig the heels, rise, pull back up. Okay, so a few times, that's it. Just like halfway folding and then rising. So that we're just working the length of the hamstrings, but also kind of creating that stability for them. This next time that you hinge just halfway, pause there. Let's take the arms out. I just feel like you're kind of floating the palms up towards the ceiling. Feel the shoulder blades squeeze together. You're glancing down. And then just lower the arms. Let the palms touch. And then now big sweep of the arms back out to your sides. Okay, a couple of times through that move, right? So nice and strong through the back body. As you lower the arms this next time, shake the arms, right? Just kind of like maybe you're shaking water off the hands, but just a little bit of this movement to shake off any energy you don't need there. And then rise, come on up. Okay, we turn this into a little bit of a balance flow. Let's stand on the right leg, float the left foot a little bit, hinge at the hip crease, and then rise. Stand on the other foot, do the same thing, hinge at your hip crease. And then just a few times move through that, right? The feet staying kind of next to one another as you balance and hinge. Kind of stoking all that good stability and stretch at once. We'll do this just once more to your right side and then of course into your left side. All right, let's come on back up. Mountain pose, top of your mat. Inhale, sweep the arms, reach up. Exhale, bow, folding forward. Lengthen there, halfway lift. The exhale, downward facing dog, directly or through vinyasa to get you there. Once you get back into dog pose, let's lift the right leg high. And go ahead and stack that hip open, let the knee bend so there's a big twist through the lower half. But then straighten that leg, let's level out the hips, square them up as best you can feel. And then we rock forward into plank pose. Let's draw this knee towards the right elbow, and then just plank pose, lengthen out. Bring that knee across your body to other elbow, plank pose. And then we sneak that foot through to a low lunge. From that, let's rise, send it up. Okay, a little bit of movement here. Let's bend into the front knee, kind of lean forward, and then do the opposite, okay? Lean back. You're gonna bend into the back knee, lean your body to the back of the mat a few times, moving, flowing. I want you to kind of shift your weight through the front leg and into the back leg. Feel that sense of steadiness, right? That you automatically create that as you move to stay upright. And then we pause. Come right into the middle, reach the arms. Let's straighten through the front leg. Just feel like you can be lifted off your yoga mat. And then exhale. Let's drop down into the back knee. Again, just lower down. And then from here, we'll lift the front foot, right? Lift the toes. Start to lift your whole front foot off the mat. And then from there, we'll place that foot down. Let's rise. Send it up. Reach the arms. Okay, a twist to the right. The kind where we part the arms. Look way over that shoulder behind you. Take a breath, sides and back of the waist. And then that front arm, that left palm flips open and then just reach up. Raise your left arm, little reach back. And a big windmill of the hands to the mat. Downward facing dog, directly or flowing through vinyasa. Once you do get into dog pose, be there just long enough for a couple of breaths to happen. And then from that, let's lift the left leg high. Feel the hips stack open, knee bends, toes kind of reach across. There's a twist. And then now just level that all back out. Straighten the leg, square things up, and then rock it forward to plank pose. Okay, leg doesn't have to be lifted very high back there. Bring that knee towards left elbow, plank pose. And then bring that knee across the body to that other elbow, plank pose. And then sneak it on through to that lunge. From that, we rise. We come up. We'll move. So we're going to bend into the front knee. Really kind of lean out your weight into that front foot. And then do the opposite. Lean away, lean back. Okay, a few times. Some movement here to create that space. From here, we'll bring this back in. We'll pause right in the center of it all. Reach up. All that reach, like you could touch the ceiling. And then now just bend into the knee. Slowly descend all the way down. Okay. From here, again, little awareness to the back body. We want to be stacked over that knee so we can start to lift the front foot. Notice what you notice here. There may be movement to counterbalance. And then let's root back into that foot. We'll tuck the toes, we'll rise, we'll send it up. A twist here towards that left side. Part the arms, turn. And then front palm flips open, we raise that right arm. Reach up and over. All the way to the mat, give that away. Downward facing dog, directly or through vinyasa to get you there. All right, once you get back into that dog pose, let's glance forward at the hands, walk or hop the feet. Come on into the very front of your yoga mat. And then let's rise. Bring this all the way up through to standing. Just once again, Tadasana. All right, from here, let's stand on the right leg and then now lift the left knee. Let's interlace the hands, give it a good squeeze, really draw up tall on that one leg. And then from right there, let's step back into Warrior Two pose. Warrior Two on your right side, reach out. Let's reverse this. Let that be easy. All the way to the back of your mat. And then we'll rise. We'll come forward. Let's find side angle pose. Elbow to knee style. Feel your whole body in that shape. And we'll rise. We'll bring this back again through center. Once more, reach back, reverse your warrior. As you're doing that, let's straighten the front leg. Dig the heel, lift the toes, lift the front of your foot. And then now let's rise. We'll come back through center. Let's find our way to triangle pose. Take all the time. Root down your hand. Remember, either using your yoga block or something else that could serve as it, a book. But we want to be able to let the bottom hand root to something as you reach up. Peeling open from the shoulders. Feel your body in a global way. Reaching out through the crown of your head. And then let's rise. We'll come back up, just nice bend in the front knee. Take a moment to be there, warrior pose. We'll windmill hands to the mat. Downward facing dog, directly or through vinyasa to get there. And then from dog pose, let's glance at the hands and rise. Walk or hop all the way into the front. We'll come up to standing, mountain pose. A mountain pose, we're going to stand on the left leg, and then we'll draw that right knee in. Give it a good squeeze. Mountain pose on one leg. From there, just nice slow transition. Let's step back, and then finding warrior two. Good. Soft, steady gaze. Steady, smooth breath. Flip the front palm, reach it back, reverse warrior. Okay, ride that breath forward, side angle pose. Just elbow to knee style. Feel the arms sweep overhead. And then just be there. Let's rise. Bring this up. From warrior two, reach back, reverse. As you reverse warrior, straighten the front leg this time, and then dig the heel, lift the toes, right? Kind of balanced on your heel there. And then we'll bring this up. We'll set up for triangle pose on this left side. Again, in some way, we want to be able to root down the bottom hand. That openness, let it come from the shoulders and the chest. And then reaching that arm. Feel the breath move from your center, just all the way out to the edges of the body. Right? Let your awareness be connected to that. Pressing down through the mound of your big toe and that front foot. Let's release triangle. We'll come up. Take a moment again through your warrior. And then just windmilling hands to the floor. Downward facing dog. Direct or scenic route to get you there. All right, from our dog pose, let's lift right leg high. Exhale, step it forward to a high crescent lunge. Come all the way up through high crescent, reaching the arms overhead. Back heel lifts. From here, let's shift forward, find warrior three pose. Let the back leg lift. Allow the arms to sweep back here too. So just gives you that extra reminder to rise up from back body. From warrior three, let's come on up through to standing. We'll find a figure four. So just kind of ankle rest over top of knee and then find that seat, kind of nestle down deep into that. From here, a few breaths. The option to let your elbows and forearms kind of come to rest on that front leg. Not too much, right? We're not sinking into this. We're awake and involved here, but just maybe lightly letting the arms come down to support that stretch. All right, let's rise. Bring this all the way back up, and then just both feet. So clear that out. Inhale, sweep the arms. Exhale, bow, fold it forward. Lengthen here, halfway lift. Exhale, downward facing dog, directly or through vinyasa to get there. Once you're there in dog pose, let's lift the left leg. We'll step it through. High crescent lunge, come on up. Arms overhead, rising. We'll fly it forward, warrior three. Glancing down a little bit with the head, just so head is in line, nice and long with the rest of the spine. From warrior 3, let's rise. Come on up to standing. We're going to make that shift to our figure 4. So just ankle to thigh. Have a seat. Nestle down just the right amount. Let that be sustainable. Not so intense that it takes our attention away from everything else. Okay, hands are at your heart, but you could explore the hands or the arms if they're able to rest lightly at that knee and that ankle. And from that, we'll rise. We'll come up. We'll let that go, both feet. Okay, put it back together. Inhale, sweep the arms. Exhale, dive. Fold forward. Let's lengthen here, halfway lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Directly or through vinyasa to get there. From our dog pose, once you're there, let's come down into the knees. We'll take a moment here to set up and work with our block. If you don't have a block, a pillow or something like a blanket or towel will work just fine. But we're going to come back through to work with a low lunge. Let's start with the right side to keep things even and simple. So just right foot's going to be forward, but then I'm going to bring my back knee, my left knee onto my prop, to my block. Okay? And then so from here, I'm going to do a little bit of adjusting, a little bit of internal math, so that I can start to lift the back foot off of the mat. Yeah? And then I'm going to reach back, find that foot, and just gently pull towards. Okay? So you might have to step the back, or rather step the front foot in a little. But just kind of find that spot where you can comfortably, with either one hand or maybe both hands, you gently pull that foot towards you. But again, really discern the intensity of that stretch. And we don't have to get it all done today. A little bit goes a long way. As you draw that foot in towards you. If you're working with both hands, let's see about reaching just the right arm up overhead now. Take a breath. And then let's release this. So we'll gently let go of that. We're going to bring this back out into the front of our yoga mat. Hands framing the front foot, let the back toes tuck under. So you can float that knee off of the mat for a moment. And then from there, also, let the arms sweep back. Rise just a little bit away. By just hovering up like we do for warrior 3 pose. And then just gently right on back down into that low lunge. From this low lunge, we're going to rock back so we can straighten through the front leg. Still on the block back there. Hands at hips, find that hip hinge. And then a few times here, point flex your toes, point flex the front foot. And just notice how that changes stretch through the front leg. Hinging here at the hip crease. All right, let's start to rise. We'll bring this back on up. And then from here, now, left hand behind us, either at the low back or reaching all the way back there. Can you find your heel and start to raise the right arm? And then now just kind of straightening through that front leg. Let the breath come through. All right, we'll rise. We're going to bring this all the way out. Let's take a downward facing dog in between all of that. Just kind of clear all the work out. All right, from here, let's switch. So just coming down, you're going to align yourself. I'm bringing my left foot forward, and now my right knee, my back knee is on that block. And then from here, getting a little bit of that internal math just so that you can kind of find the right spot. That's going to kind of just allow you to bring that back foot in towards you. Once again, that subtle movement of drawing the tailbone under is going to go a long way into getting into that front hip crease and quad. Okay? Let the breath support that and just kind of gauge the intensity. Not too much that it overwhelms. One hand or both hands can pull that foot in. Let's go ahead here and just raise the left arm. Can you reach this up? That invitation to lengthen. And then gently, let's bring this down. We'll let that go. Let's bring our hands out there in front, tuck the back toes, and just a little lift off through the back knee. Just clear that away. From that, just hover the arms, sweep them back, rise from the back body. And then now all the way back down into our mat. So we kind of reset. All right, as you come up, a little bit again, drawing that tailbone under. We're going to reach behind us. Either hand could be at the low back, reaching up. Okay, otherwise hand can reach all the way back there, find that heel, front leg straightens. Lift your heart. Feel like you're lifting up and over something. And from that, we rise. Trace your way back out of that. Okay, we'll bring our hands to the floor, all the way to downward facing dog. Directly or through vinyasa. Move that block out of the way. Pedal that away, right? Just a little bit of aftertaste, right? Kind of metabolize the work and efforts from that. And then now, from that dog pose, let's lift the right leg high. Exhale, come on up, warrior two pose on that right side. Take a moment. Equalize this. Reach back, reverse your warrior. We'll come forward. And then from here, let's find eagle arms. Intertwine the arms, let the palms touch. And then from there, humble warrior. Bow forward, upper body rounds, body folds. Dive in. And then just press through that front foot, the mound of the big toe. Feel the rebound. And then come all the way back up. Unravel the arms, reach back, reverse. And then we rise. From here, we come back down, this time into Scandasana or side lunge, okay? So I've dropped down here, but I'm going to drop down even further and make a little shift onto my feet, okay? Unless you have just a really excellent squat, you might find that you'll be doing a squat where the heel is a little bit lifted. I'm on the ball of my foot. Find your balance down here. See about the hands leaving the floor, drawing up tall. Excellent. From this, we're going to bring our hands to the mat, and then we're going to make a little shift right down, way down low. So I'm going to come down into my knee, and then I'm going to just kind of sink back, and then I'm going to come forward. So a few times I'm just rocking forward and back, a little bit like I'm going to child's pose, and a little bit forward like I'm going to tabletop. Towards that inner thigh stretch. Right. As you come forward this next time, let's bring that back foot through. Okay, did you see that? So I'm in this kind of tabletop on this side, but I'm just going to kind of sneak my foot through, and then I'm going to sit right down into it. Voila. Okay, from there, let's scoop up the big toe here, wrapping first two fingers around the big toe, and then just a big reach back, broad across the chest. Let's release that, let the palms touch, and then right there, we fold forward. You might come out into the elbows. You could lower further down. Few breaths here, just that passive stretch through the inner thighs and hips. Be here for another breath, an inhale and exhale, and then we'll rise. Let's bring this up. We're going to trace our way back out the way we came. So I'm going to come from this foot being here, all the way back, tucking the toes. Yes, rocking your way back up through Scandasana. And then from Scandasana, tracing it even further out into Warrior Two. Right? So we want to be able to make our way out of our poses just the way we came in. Bring the hands back into your yoga mat. Downward facing dog. Okay, directly or through vinyasa, you have options. Okay, re-arriving. Let's begin again. All on the other side. In dog pose, let's lift left leg high. And we'll step forward to warrior two pose. Come on up, warrior. Open the front palm, reach back, reverse. Exhale, come on back through center, eagle arms. Okay, other elbow inside, arms intertwine. And then from that humble warrior, upper body folds, bow the head. And just feel that strong foundation of the feet and legs here support you. Okay, from there, rise, rise, rise. Unravel the arms, send it back. Exalted warrior. And then we come back through center. We come back down, sort of just like we were, humble warrior, but then we get a little lower. We make this shift, okay, a little pivot, so we can find Scandasana. Hands leaving the ground. On a day where it feels like you might need a little extra support in Scandasana, your prop could be right there at your sit bones, okay? And then you could work that variation. Down low, but rising up. We want to meet that flexibility with some stability. Okay, from here, we're coming a little bit out in front of us, and I'm going to drop down into this knee, okay? From here, a little bit like I'm dropping back towards child's pose, and then forward to tabletop, okay? This moves, just that rocking forward and back. All right. As I come forward, my back foot is just going to kind of sneak in, yeah? So just a little turn of that foot. So now I can sit myself all the way down into the mat. Let's reach, find the big toe, scoop it up, and then just other arm. Long line between the two. Right from there, palms touch to center, and we take a fold, okay? Spend a few breaths here, passive stretch. Elbows are further down. One more breath to seal this side. Let's start to lift the head. We'll come on back up. We're going to trace our way all the way back out to where we came from your seat. Bring this forward through a half tabletop. From half tabletop, tuck the toes, rock back towards Scandasana. And then from Scandasana, we make our way back into our legs, more holistically through to warrior pose. Take a pause, take a moment. There we are. Okay, hands to the mat, downward facing dog, directly or through that vinyasa to get you there. All right, from our dog pose, let's lift the right leg high. Step it on through, high crescent lunge. Come on up, a little bit of flow here before we wind it down. From high lunge, let's shift forward, draw that left knee in. Scoop it up with just either the left hand or find that big toe, bent leg or straight leg. You know that you can find any amount of this. Definitely the amount that serves you. From there, whether it's a straight leg, a bent leg, or the knee, find that figure four we once had. Nestle down into your seat. And then we rise, we come up. Draw that knee in. And then from here, just a forward fold on one leg. I'm bringing my hands either towards the floor, or I could bring hands towards a block, reaching through the back leg. Okay? Forward fold on one leg, sometimes also called a standing split. So that back leg could reach a little higher. If you want to play with this, the hands could come in towards that standing ankle. Let's go ahead and land that back foot, dropping down the back knee, lizard pose. So now my front leg's going to turn out, right? I'm going to turn my toes and my knee out, hand resting at that thigh. Take a nice big look over the shoulder. Hips here get to sink forward. Let's reach behind us. Okay, the option to bend the knee and reach back for those toes if you like. And we come all the way out. From right there, downward facing dog, direct or scenic route to get there. In our dog, let's lift the left leg. Bring it on through. High crescent lunge, come on up. Take a moment to be there. And then now push off, back leg. We come up to standing. Find the knee or find that big toe. But drawing up tall, spine long, out through crown of head. Yeah? Explore that, take all the time, there's no rush. And then from there, we make that transition to our figure 4. Nestle down into your seat. A breath to rise, bring this up. We send it back, sort of like we're starting to go towards warrior 3, but we fold forward the upper body. Hands to the block, hands to the floor. Standing fold on one leg. All that focus. And we land. We land into the back foot. We're going to bring this down, the lizard pose, which means turning the front toes and the knee out. We sink it forward. Take a look over the shoulder. I like to be up on my hand in lizard pose, but you could also do this down into the elbow or the forearm. Okay? That's going to change things, so just make sure we've got room for all the other elements. An option would be to use a block to bring that elbow to. Okay? Let's bend the back knee, see about catching hold of that back foot. A breath here through twisted spine and lungs. And then all the way out of that. All right, let's get our way back out of that. Hands to the floor, then downward facing dog. All right, from our dog pose, let's rock this forward to plank. Touch down the knees, okay? A little bit of cat-cow pose here, just now that we're more than halfway through, just kind of smoothing it all out. Right? Move into all that space you've created, reconnect to your spine. All right, let's tuck our toes, downward dog. In dog pose, all the way out now and to the floor. Let's come down. Take a moment, lean in, earth the body. Such a good thing for the nervous system, okay? Stack the palms, rest the head. Allow your feet to go wide edges of the yoga mat. And then just a little bit of like shifting or like shimmying through the hips, right? Just kind of feel the weight of the body kind of settle, kind of like sand. From there, let's bend our knees, draw the heels in, just little windshield wiper action, right? Real soft, no effort, all the momentum. As you lower the legs, let's slide up into the elbows, just a little bit of Sphinx pose here. Check in with your shoulders. Let's shrug them like we did in tabletop at the beginning of class. Sink in, right? Feel the shoulders go up into the ears. And then draw them down, and do that a whole bunch of times. Just being present with your ability to lift and lower your shoulder blades. Okay, any tension that might build up there, this is how we move it. Sink in, draw them down. And then from there, let's work into half frog pose, okay? Working with the hips here. We'll slide our right knee a little bit out there to the side. Pause here. This might be a big stretch for the inner thigh for you, but it might not be. It could be a very subtle, if at all noticeable stretch. Just a nice position to bring the leg into. We rarely maybe get to do that. We're going to lift and lower the foot, right? Just another kind of novel, interesting way to move through the hips. Notice kind of what activates here for you as you lift and lower. You might get a little bit of cramping in the hip if we're not used to kind of rotating in this way. All right, let's lower this. We'll slide that knee down, left leg. So just left knee is going to go out there. We find half frog pose. Same thing, we're just going to lift and lower through the left foot. Stay connected. Stay engaged with this. No, it's a kind of a simple, small movement. And then we're going to lower that. We're also going to lower down, come back through, kind of like you're doing crocodile pose. Just take a moment in between all of that. And then now some nice long side body stretch. Let's take our right arm way out in front of us. And then we're going to bend our left knee, okay? Draw the heel in. I want you to peel open onto your side body, okay? We're not going onto our back body. We're going to stay right on our side body. But I'm just going to kind of peel open that left hip. And I'm going to pause right here. If I want to, I could add in that other arm reaching overhead. Take a breath here. And then let's slowly just kind of ease out of that, roll right on back into your yoga mat. Okay, so it's kind of specific in that we're landing on our side body, right? It's not often that we're like laying fully on the side seam of the body. Other way for this, I'm going to reach my left arm forward and I'm going to bend my right knee. And then I'm going to peel open so I'm on my side. And my toes just kind of tap down behind me. I'm going to stay on my side and let my head rest there. Hip peels open. Feel as though you're making yourself as long as your yoga mat, reaching through the toes and the hand. You could explore arm overhead. Take a breath there through the belly. And then slowly unwinding, releasing. Let's come back into our mats. Push it all the way back into child's pose. Take a moment there. From that, let's rise. We'll sit right on up into our heels. Take a moment to simply be in that hero's pose. Okay. While we're here in hero's pose, you could choose, again, just palms resting at the thighs. You could let the eyes flutter shut and just take a moment, right? Just a moment of meditation. Or here's where you could also choose to add in a little bit of a back bend, front body opening. So right hand could come behind. Raise the left arm, look up. This option here then would be to lift the heels, rise away, lifting the hips. If this is where you're at, let's come back down. And then we'll just reach around. So my other hand, my left hand to the floor, lifting the hips away from heels, rise. And then all the way out. Okay, if you've been sitting in hero all along, here we are. Let's rise. Very last time through downward facing dog. Okay, if you want to move through vinyasa, through that chaturanga up dog, all the way back, downward facing dog. Notice here what feels a little different in this last dog pose from the very first one you did. And from that, let's glance at the hands. We're going to come down, all the way down into our seat. We'll find a few seated postures here. Let's begin straight away in bound angle pose. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. I'm going to give you this option to work on a block or a prop, okay? A little bit of lift of the pelvis to allow the knees and the hips to kind of drop down. And this propped up version is nice. Okay, so catching the feet, let's lean in. A little forward fold here. Let's start to rise. We're going to bring this on back up. Keep the feet together, but just bring them a little bit out in front of here. Tortoise pose, same thing really. We just fold forward, but then now we're going to kind of sneak the arms a little bit under the legs. The shoulders round, the head bows. Cape of the back body folds in around you. Stay here as long as you like. This can be a good one to be in. Can you feel the breath move towards the back of the ribs? We're going to move on here, so let's start to rise. And then just clearing that out. Go ahead and plant your feet out in front of you, the knees bent, the hands back behind you. Let's look up, reverse tabletop, okay? Drive the floor away, navel center rising. And then just all the way back into our seat. Okay, we'll work into one more seated posture, getting into the front of the hips, the hip flexors here, okay? I'm gonna sit on my block. I'm gonna have my left bum, right, like my left butt cheek on the block, and then I'm gonna bend my right knee kind of back here behind me. And then from here, I'm gonna interlace my hands around that left knee, and a little bit I'm gonna lean back, and then I just kind of float that foot off the mat. And then let's go ahead and just kind of root back into that. We'll do that again. We'll kind of lean back. You could stay right here. Otherwise, you'll bring the hands kind of behind, and then you'll work that leg towards straight. Okay. Option to explore, hand to big toe. I'm scooping up the big toe here, and then I'm working that out in front. Again, finding just a sustainable version. Sitting tall. Whatever you're holding onto, the toe or behind the knee, let that go, but just stay there, reaching. And then we'll go ahead and then we'll lower that leg. And we're gonna set up right here to take a little fold. Okay, doesn't have to be super deep, but just lean the body over that front leg. Okay, we'll rise, we'll bring this back up, and then just a little shift. Okay, come on out. We're gonna wanna move that block. Again, I'm kind of only just sitting on one side of it, and then I can bring my left knee behind me. Interlace the hands around. Little lean back, just to float that foot. And then just kind of press that footprint back into the floor. Before we do it again, we lean back, either stay or find the hands behind the leg, or scoop up, hand to big toe. Feel like sternum or chest is reaching forward. From right there, wherever you're at with it, let's float the arms, floating that leg, and then we'll lower. Okay, from here, it's sitting tall. Just we'll kind of walk this forward, folding in. All the way out of this. Let's come down off of our block. Keep it nearby. But for a moment, we're just going to find a cross-legged seat, and then we're going to fold. Lean back into your hands behind you. Switch the feet, other foot in front, little fold. Okay, so just a little bit of mobility flow, clearing out all the work. You've done this before, so we're just putting each foot in front. Right foot and then left foot. Rocking and rolling. And then let's go ahead and land here into our seat. Take one more upright thing before we bring this down into our mat, okay? So where you're at seated, let's drop the head towards the right shoulder. So your head towards the right shoulder just kind of flops over a little bit. And then that same right arm hand is gonna reach up and over and just kind of land there. Okay, no extra super crunching or pushing, but just a little stretch through the upper neck into the traps. Maybe gently try drawing the chin towards the chest or lifting it away. Let's rise. We'll bring this on back up. Let's drop the head now to the left shoulder. I just kind of head flops over. Same arm, left arm's going to reach up and over, hand resting at the head. Pause here and just feel. And then just gently see about what happens when you draw the chin towards the chest or kind of lift it away. And let's release. Come on up, put your head on straight. And then now we're ready to bring this all the way down. Okay, as we come into our yoga mat, first as you arrive, simply draw the knees in, give yourself a good squeeze. Feel the imprint of your spine there on the floor. Back of the head and the shoulders. And then from there, let's go ahead and plant the feet onto the mat. This is where we're going to use our block again, or a prop, again, blanket or pillow, but we're going to take a supported bridge pose here on purpose. So let's lift the hips, elevate the hips onto something, and then just arms to the side. And take a moment here and just feel supported through the pelvis and low back. Only movement here is that simple rise and fall of the breath. Allow that to travel down towards the belly, right? The diaphragm supporting that inhale and exhale. And from right here, this supported version of bridge, we're going to draw just the right knee in, give it a good squeeze. Left leg's going to travel on down. Few moments here, letting gravity kind of yawn open that front hip crease. Let's go ahead and switch sides. First, let's bring the knees in and just kind of let the knees like fall in towards you. Right? Gravity will help here because we're on that block. And then go ahead and keep that left knee. We'll send the right leg straight on down the mat. Take a breath here. Inhale down towards front of that hip crease. Exhale it away. Knees are going to come back in. Let the knees come towards you. We'll take this supported version of your shoulder stand today. So the legs simply straight on up into the air, just reversing that hierarchy, letting the legs float effortlessly here. Little bit of time here in this. If you would prefer to come into that more active version of shoulder stand, of course, welcome into that. Spend a little time with it. From shoulder stand, if you're working with it, remember lots of space still for the throat and the neck, the breath to move. From that shoulder stand, if you're working the active one, you might pass down through plow pose, letting the legs come closer towards you. Eventually, bending the knees, slowly making your way back down into the mat. Just let the feet find the floor. Catch a moment there in between everything we've done up until this point. We can lift off that block and make it all the way back down. Take a moment and just kind of let your spine normalize from that. The hands at your hips. Let's find cat-cow. Super small version where you kind of tuck and untuck your tailbone. The low back flattens to the mat, the low back peels off. Okay, a little reset for that area. And then we rise, more active bridge pose. Send the hips up, also reach the arms straight up, fingers towards the ceiling, and then just circle through the wrists. Nice thorough circles, make sure you go both directions. We'll interlace our hands, turn them up, take them overhead. And then just releasing all the way down. We'll windshield wiper those knees, right, left. And let's bring this back in. Happy baby pose. Right? Just that pose, this pose, such a reminder just to not take it all too seriously. Let's shift and sway, just a little rock side to side on the low back. And then while you're here in happy baby, scoop up the big toes. Find those big toes one last time. Bring the feet in. So recreate butterfly right here. Interesting stretch through the hips and the inner thighs, I think. Lift the head and the shoulders, just like you're going to peek up towards the toes. And then go ahead and lower that. We'll release it to that reclined bound angle pose, settling into the floor. As you get here, press down into your feet. Let's lift the hips and rise. Find that engagement, that stretch, all the way back down and lower. Take a moment here, just getting acquainted with the feeling of stillness. And you're going to send the legs down the mat. Coming into Shavasana here. Final posture, final rest. Take a few moments to just fully arrive, a position that allows you to be comfortable and present. And then giving yourself your own undivided attention. I'll mind the time. That practice of Shavasana is to simply return again and again to the present moment when we wander away from it, as the brain does. Let's seal our practice here, a collective breath. Take your biggest inhale possible. Pause at the very top of that breath, and then slow exhalation to the very bottom of your lungs. Take a final scan here. Notice what feels good and comfortable. Connect it. We'll begin to ease back into the day. Find a little bit of movement. Wiggle fingers or toes. Circle the jaw. Let's reach the arms overhead behind you. Find a full body stretch into every cell, that sense of completeness. And then from there, gently rolling to your right side. Take a moment on your right side as you come out of Shavasana. Connected and ready, let's rise. Come on back up into your seat. And we'll bring palms to heart center. One palm right over the center, other palm over that. Gently press in that sense of heartfulness and presence. Stay as close to that for as long as possible. Have the best day ever. Peace.